So, choosing the most powerful credit card is just as much about how good the card itself is as it is about how that card works for you. And when you're choosing between the two most premium travel credit cards today with the most premium annual fees, getting this decision wrong is going to be a painful one. That's why in today's video, when I put the new American Express Platinum card head to head against the new Chase Sapphire Reserve card, I'm going to do it in a way that looks at how these cards will best work for you. Not just compare the credits and benefits, but how these cards are going to fit the lifestyle that you want them to. This is going to be a fun one, so let's dive right on in. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Rick and I help you save more, earn more, and experience more using credit cards as that tool to do so. Now, the single most common question I get in this space in comments and emails is which credit card should I get? Or a version of that, is this credit card the best credit card for me? And I can easily answer half of that question. It's all I do on this channel, talk about credit cards and which ones are the most powerful and which ones don't meet your expectations. But there's an entire second part of that question that often when I get that, I have to say, well, it depends. And what that depends on is your specific habits and what you need that card to do. The best simple example of this is looking at the Chase Freedom Unlimited. This is Chase's catch-all card that earns 1.5x on everything you buy. And objectively, by itself, it's a pretty weak credit card. However, if I know a little bit more about your habits, you're willing to get annual fee cards and you're willing to get multiple credit cards in a wallet setup, well, then you might add the Chase Sapphire Preferred to give it access to transfer partners with your Chase Ultimate Rewards points. And if I know that you prefer to go outside the travel portal and you're willing to do that, you may redeem your Chase Ultimate Rewards points through World of Hyatt and get even more at some insane all-inclusive resorts. Now that's taking your simple 1.5x earnings on the Chase Freedom Unlimited and say you're conservatively redeeming them at an all-inclusive resort for about 2.5 cents per point. Well, now you're getting back a minimum of 3.75% on every single dollar you spend. By me knowing those two things, you're willing to get more cards and you're willing to go outside the portal. Well, now this objectively bad card can become really, really powerful in a setup. See what I mean? I think you get the example. That's why in this video, I'm going to introduce you to the 4 personas looking for the most premium credit card and are unsure which to get. We've got the calculator, the high roller, the collector, and the loyalist. Let's look at the top dogs for Chase and AmEx and see which card wins out for those 4 unique credit card needs. Let me introduce you to the first persona, the calculator. Now this is ultimately me. And hey, I'm not ashamed to admit it. While others may tell you to loosen up and just enjoy life a little, the persona of the calculator is literally getting joy out of squeezing every single dollar in value possible from a credit card. You literally will get more satisfaction from actually getting your money's worth out of a card than experiencing the actual benefit as you're doing it. I know it's messed up and I think we all need therapy, but that's just the way we're living. So let's break down what this person's looking for. They're going to measure every perk they get against the annual fee. They're willing to track credits and be really specific to make sure they're coming out on top, and they'll always place value over luxury every single time. Now, which of these 2 premium cards is going to be better for the calculator? Well, it's clearly the American Express Platinum card. And let me tell you exactly why. The Platinum card takes care of what the calculator needs, getting that annual fee way below zero in just 4 credits now, and it's really changed the game. First, you have $400 in Resi credits. If you live in a big city, you can breeze through these $100 quarterly credits. You've now got $300 in Lululemon credits, and I put this in here because the way a calculator thinks about this thing is you're going to need to buy clothes anyway. You might as well siphon some of that necessary spending onto a credit you're already getting. $300 in digital entertainment, which includes Disney Plus, YouTube TV, which is the fastest growing TV subscription service, and a bunch of other things as well. And a $200 airline incidental credit. Baggage fees, anybody? So right there, $1,200 in value that more than wipes away the $895 annual fee on the new AmEx Platinum. And even if you're not taking full advantage of those credits, which the calculator understands is a realistic possibility, there's more than enough to cross on the other side into positive territory. The rest of the benefits on the Platinum card, well, those are icing on the cake. And I didn't even have to cross into the $600 hotel credit, which may or may not be used by the ultimate value hunter. Now, the Platinum card wasn't always the choice for the calculator. In fact, I openly came out against this card in this channel and called it unnecessary and really not a great fit for a lot of people out there. But the recent update has changed a ton. With Resi, Lululemon, and the addition of YouTube TV as a credit that goes into that digital entertainment pot, well, I think more people than ever can use this card practically to then take that annual fee down and just get all of those other benefits. The Sapphire Reserve, it just doesn't work the same way for this type of persona though. Chase's own $300 Sapphire Reserve tables are a huge mess. Whereas AmEx has the dining credit with over 10,000 Resi locations, it's just few and far between, less than 30 cities in the United States that have Sapphire Reserve tables in their location. That cuts out so many people who could potentially use this card. $500 edit hotel credit is nearly impossible to get value out of. Chase scrambled and tried to break down some of the restrictions with this, but still, you need to book a 2-night minimum, which is not the same with Amex's Fine Hotels and Resorts, which can be applied to their own $600 credit. It's really tough to get value on those really expensive hotels when you're forced into booking a minimum of 2 nights. And finally, the rest of the credits on the Sapphire Reserve, they're okay, but DoorDash, Lyft, Peloton, and StubHub, that's not exactly what a value hunter is going to spring for. So if you're like me and you're looking for ultimate value, you've got to move and go with the Platinum card. Now, if you consider yourself our second persona, which is the high roller, or you just dream about what living like this would be one day, well, then this is the comparison for you. But before I explain my choice between these two for the best credit card for the luxury travelers among us, I want to introduce you to today's video sponsor, Morning Brew. Morning Brew is a free daily email newsletter delivered first thing in the morning. And I love it because it filters all the world of news out there into what exactly I need to know about the world of finance, business, tech, and more. Now, I've grown to love my morning routine where I work to create content for this channel. But before I do that, I start my morning by sitting down, opening up Morning Brew, and in 5 minutes or less, being caught up on everything I need to know for the day. I always start by scrolling to check how the markets did the previous day. Morning Brew puts that right at the top, so it's easy to get a quick summary and then move on. I'll scan through and hunt for things that generally interest me, like learning about the explosion of the hustle culture in San Francisco tech, or hunting for things that could provide value to you as viewers on this channel. For example, DoorDash, who we know has tons of credits through the Chase Sapphire cards, announced they're launching this crazy new delivery bot called Dot by the end of the year. Now, I've been reading Morning Brew forever, so when they reached out to sponsor this video, it was really a no-brainer. I feel like I've leveled up with Morning Brew because they're to the point. I also feel smarter and more informed after I'm done scanning through, and it feels like I'm reading something written by a friend, albeit a smart and funny friend, but still a relatable friend for the things I care about in my life. So if you want to join me or the other 4 million plus who subscribe to Morning Brew, click the link down in the description below or scan the QR code on the screen now. And finally, a special thanks to Morning Brew for supporting the work that I do here on this channel. Now, where were we? The high roller. Pretty much the opposite persona of the calculator. The high roller values access to exclusive and luxury experiences. They appreciate what it takes to get a higher class of service, and they see credits and benefits as a way to shortcut this as opposed to going through the normal way of paying, and then finally achieving a certain status. Now, before I announce my choice for the high roller, I'm going to go through the 5 things that I see mattering to someone who considers himself in this persona. First, let me tell you, the high roller is the single most important category type that these banks are looking for. Amex has long prided itself on having high net worth clientele and catering a specific service level to their needs. Where Chase, they want to get there and they want to get there as fast as possible, and that's what the new Reserve card is directly intended to do. Now, the first area that both of these cards compete in is the dining credit. Amex has Resi, over 10,000 restaurants spread across different cities, and on the other side, Chase has the Sapphire Reserve exclusive tables. Now, I will say, the Sapphire Reserve tables are going to be better for the high roller. They're truly those 4- and 5-star restaurants that are really those memorable dining experiences. You're not just going to get food, you're going for an experience. Resi has kind of the whole scope. You'll get the more casual bar and grill, but you'll also tap into some of those nicer restaurants as well. Even though I personally don't see the Sapphire Reserve tables as being practical because they are so few and far between, if you're looking for prestige and you're looking for experiences, it's clearly Chase on this one. But next, we've got lounge access, and AmEx really takes the cake here. They have the single best lounge access in the world with Centurion lounges, Delta Sky Club access, Lufthansa lounges, and Priority Pass. Chase, on their side, has just a few Sapphire Reserve lounges, Air Canada access, and Priority Pass as well. For premium hotels and the benefits you get there, I really see the Hotel Collection and Fine Hotels and Resorts being very similar to the Edit, which is Chase's version of these nicer, more curated experience style properties. I don't really see a difference for this persona. However, here's where we start to see some movement. What about luxury brands? With Amex, you'll get credits to Lulu, Saks Fifth Ave, and Aura, where with Chase, you're getting Apple TV and Peloton. Now, the advantage here is to Amex, and having a Walmart Plus credit, that doesn't do enough to ding its reputation as being better positioned for the high roller. And last but not least, let's look at status. How you're going to be treated when you enter a certain space. Well, Amex gives you Marriott Gold and Hilton Gold status, as well as rental car status with Avis, Hertz, and National. Now, Chase also has that National and Avis status, but they don't have anything for hotel or other statuses unless you spend $75,000 on the card. Now, I know we're talking about the high rollers here, but still, people are few and far between who actually spend that much on a credit card. So not having those built-in hotel statuses just for holding the reserve, that's a huge loss for Chase in my opinion. Out of these 5 categories that matter most for the high roller, the Platinum card wins 3, is even on hotels, and I'm going to give the edge on dining to Chase, although you could really make a good argument for Resi. Plain and simple, if you want to live the good life and you're not concerned about the annual fee you're paying in to get that, you still have to go with the Platinum card. Let's look at Persona 3, which I call the Collector. And I'm really excited because there are so many of you who fit into this category that watch my videos I post here on this channel. The Collector is really strategic by nature. They're the type of credit card user that works to build a core setup and then sees premium credit cards as a way to grab little experiences, will go in and out of spaces, and really looks for great value in doing so. The Collector sees something like the Platinum card and the Sapphire Reserve as a complement to what they've got going on. It's not the centerpiece or the end-all be-all. They prioritize flexibility over maximum luxury, and they're allergic to credit overlap. So let's analyze the opportunity out there and then declare a winner. I love to look at sign-up bonus valuation ratio for this type of person. And not a lot of people talk about this and how important it is if you're collecting different cards to add to your setup for a period of time. The sign-up bonus valuation ratio is essentially a multiplier of how much more points you're getting and what those are worth coming in the door in year 1 compared to that first year annual fee you have to pay to hold the card. On the Sapphire Reserve, you're now getting a standard 125,000 point sign-up bonus at the time of recording this video. That's loosely going to be worth $1,250 when just equating for a 1 cent per point valuation, and the card's got a $795 annual fee. This gives you a sign-up bonus multiplier of 1.57. Now the Amex Platinum, that gets a little more complicated because of how much Amex fluctuates their welcome offers. On the Platinum, it ranges anywhere between a low ball of 80,000 points all the way up to a potential 175,000 points. However, data points tell us that 175,000 points is really unlikely. More often, we're seeing points in the range of 150 or 125,000. The Platinum card, of course, has an $895 annual fee, and if you're offered a bottom level 80K sign-up bonus offer, that's a multiplier of 0.89, whereas if you get that 175K offer, that's a multiplier of 1.96. Now, I like to play it somewhere more in the middle. If you actually lock in at that 150,000 membership rewards points, your sign-up bonus multiplier is going to be 1.67, slightly above the Sapphire Reserve. If you lock in at the 125,000 point level, you'll be at a 1.4x multiplier, slightly below the Sapphire Reserve. When you compare all this together with the wide variety of people and the offers you may get, it's really kind of a wash in this aspect. Although it does show me that I would absolutely not take anything below 125K, and I would really try to wait and target 150K if I was applying for the Platinum today. However, the deal breaker for the Collector, prioritizing that flexibility in addition to the value these cards could give, is the downgrade path. If you plan to rotate through multiple premium cards that meet your needs, the collector is looking for a way out eventually, once these cards start to provide less and less value into their life. For this reason, you need a good downgrade path. Canceling too many cards is going to ding your credit score, which is why downgrading or product changing to a $0 annual fee card allows you to preserve your credit history and maintain your credit score. With the Amex Platinum, the only two options you have for a downgrade are the $325 gold card or the $150 green card. Now, that's still a huge relief from the Platinum's annual fee. However, it's still certainly a decent annual fee, especially if you're cycling in other premium cards like the collector likes to do. Chase holds a huge advantage here for this type of persona. You can get out of your Sapphire Reserve and transfer it into a Freedom Flex, Freedom Unlimited, both $0 annual fee cards that will completely remove that annual fee burden. With pretty even sign-up bonus valuations, this flexibility is a huge win for the Sapphire Reserve and someone who might want to add this card for just a few years before moving on to another card. Although, let's be honest, the collector is still going to get both premium cards here. They're just going to strategize about which they get first and what the easier play to make is. Finally, let's look at persona number 4. If pulling out your calculator or not worrying about annual fees or rotating through all different premium cards hasn't really appealed to you yet, you're probably a loyalist. The loyalist wants to look at all the factors, make their decision, and then lean into that choice and just stick with it. The loyalist hates managing multiple apps, tracking things on a spreadsheet, worrying about missed payments. They just want everything in one convenient place that works best for their life. This person is going to fully commit to either Chase or American Express. Let's look at the potential American Express loyalist setup and see how it checks out. Your core cards, if you're leaning into Amex as a loyalist, are going to be, of course, your food and dining card with the Amex Gold. Then your premium travel credit card will be the Amex Platinum paired on top of that. Now, your options going outside this core setup for airlines are going to be the Delta SkyMiles Gold Card, Platinum Card, or Reserve Card, depending on how frequently you travel. For hotel cards, you've got two good options. You've got the Hilton Honors Card, which will likely be the Aspire Card, or you've got Marriott's top card, the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant. Now, two things jump out if you're leaning Amex. First, the annual fee load is going to be really high. You're looking at $12,220 in just your core setup between the gold and the newly refreshed platinum card. That doesn't even account for the premium priced additional cards that you may get if you branch into having a specific hotel or airline card as well. It's going to be tough to handle after a number of years once those sign-up bonuses wash away. Second, a huge weakness in the Amex setup is no credit card that earns more than 1x points on those non-category purchases. Of course, you could go with the Blue Business Plus, but you would have to have a business to apply and get accepted, and you'd have to be okay with spending regularly on the Blue Business Plus, assuming you're putting your personal expenses there and risking violating the terms of that card and potentially having your account closed. That's a risk that I know not a lot of people are willing to take in the tiny chance that that could happen. Let's look at the Chase side and examine that from a loyalist perspective. Your core setup is of course going to be the Chase trifecta, slotting in the Sapphire Reserve as that premium travel credit card. But you'll have additional add-ons on the airline side of the United lineup of credit cards, the Southwest lineup of credit cards, and 3 different solid hotel options. You'll have a Marriott card with the Bonvoy Boundless. You'll have an IHG card with the One Rewards Premier card. And of course, you'll have the World of Hyatt credit card. Now, across the board, you're going to have to maintain more cards to hold the core Chase setup, but you're going to have better broad-based points earning. Also, your annual fees are going to be a lot less impactful. It's a lot more practical for a normal person to hold a bunch of Chase cards with their more modest annual fees than it would be for a person to manage those Amex annual fees if you're leaning all in on that setup. I think these are two things that make a massive difference, not in year 1 or year 2, when you've got sign-up bonuses really helping you create experiences, but in years 5 and beyond, when you're holding these cards and you really have to lean in to what the value of the ingrained benefits on the cards are. Loyalist winner, you're gonna go with the Sapphire Reserve and then build the rest of your setup around Chase. So let's recap. The calculator is going to pick the Amex Platinum every time because they're value oriented and want to get that effective annual fee beneath 0. The high roller is also going to pick the AmEx Platinum in a rare double win for both the cheapo and the most luxurious type of travelers, because the Amex Platinum still provides more luxury experiences than the Sapphire Reserve does. The collector who grabs a sign-up bonus here, holds a card for a few years, and moves on is going to prioritize the Sapphire Reserve for its flexibility and ability to downgrade out of holding that expensive card. And finally, the Loyalist is going to also lean towards the Sapphire Reserve, just because long term, if you've got to have this setup and you don't want to change it out in years 5 and beyond, you're going to have a much more reasonable annual fee load. However, this is not a scoreboard. It's all about where you place yourself and what's going to be the right next move for your credit card game. You already know after watching this what persona you fit into, so I hope this just helped confirm maybe what the target or goal card is when you're looking at the most premium credit cards out there today. If you enjoyed watching this video, I'd love if you subscribed. If you liked it, give the video a like so it shares it and spreads it with more people who'd be interested as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.